Let's start our yoga class. We're going to start laying down just for a moment. We'll get settled and centered there, and then we'll pretty much get right into some sun salutations. We'll warm up a little bit and then head back down toward the floor. So for now, getting as comfy as you can, maybe grabbing a pillow, a blanket, or what have you. You could find your way to Shavasana with your arms and legs extended, or constructive rest pose, always another great option with your feet standing up near the edges of your mat and your knees or thighs resting together at the center in such a way that you don't have to hold your legs up or balance. Let your arms find their way to a restful place. Maybe blinking your eyes closed as you start to scan through your body in no particular order. Scanning through your physical body, see if there's any muscles or joints or anything like that that catch your attention. As you're scanning, maybe you notice muscle groups that are ready to relax. If you come across any tightness or clenching, offer up a breath or two to soften that gripping. Unclenching your jaw, letting your breath grow a bit deeper. And if you would like to set a dedication or intention for your practice today, feel free to bring something to mind right now. Let's take 3 rounds of clearing breath, followed by returning to a normal pace of breath. So inhaling through your nose, pausing for a moment or two at the top if you want, and then exhaling with a sigh. And wiggling fingers and toes. Let your head turn to one side and then to the other. Maybe continuing as you work your way into a long body stretch. Eventually, arms and legs extending in opposite directions, perhaps circling your ankles and wrists. All right, then we'll set up for some breathing bridge pose. So if you have any props beneath you, moving those to the side for now, bending your knees and planting your feet on the floor. Tuck your shoulder blades together behind your back and then press your arms down by your sides into the mat. With an inhale, pressing down with your feet and your arms, lift the hip points toward the sky, bridge. With your exhale, lower back down. So do it about 5 more times. Take your time, inhaling as you rise up, bridge pose, and exhaling as you lower back down. Every round through, seeing if you can get a little closer to timing it out where you're inhaling and lifting for the entire inhale, and then you're exhaling and spending your entire exhale to reach the floor. So just give it a whirl a couple more times through. Next time you are lowered down, let's stay there for a moment, keeping the pelvis on the floor. Let's just move the arms this time with your inhale. Start to lift your arms up and overhead, any amount, stopping if you feel any pain. And with your exhale, start to lift and then lower your arms back down by your sides. Same thing, timing that inhale. Spend your entire inhale as your arms float up and overhead. And exhaling as you lower your arms back down by your sides. Do that a couple more times. Last time through, we'll meet up with hands on the floor by our sides. Then go ahead and hug your knees in toward your chest. Take a little bit of free movement here, rocking, massaging pressure around your low back and sacrum. Hugging your knees in kind of close, and or letting your knees go a little farther away as you rock and circle. We will head up to tabletop next. A few ways to get there. You could roll onto either side and press your way up. You could rock and roll a couple of times up and down the spine. And eventually crossing your legs up at the top and coming over the knees, tabletop. However you get there is just fine. Cat and cow will be next. Inhaling, lowering the belly, lifting the tailbone and the gaze. Cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone. Cat pose. Inhales have you moving into cow pose, lowering your belly, lifting your gaze. Exhales have you arching the spine up toward the sky. Cat. Keep going a few more rounds and feel free to add in any other organic movement that comes to mind. Continuing with your cat and cow as long as you'd like. Next, we're heading into our first downward facing dog. So when you're ready, grabbing your blocks if you're going to use them today, curling your toes under, and slowly rising up, downward dog. Nice solid foundation through the hands and through the feet, and of course the breath. Make sure your breath is flowing, and then maybe add on some movement, bending and straightening opposite knees. eventually step your way to the top of the mat and come up to a halfway lift position. So the hands will slide up to the thighs, halfway lift. Make sure your knees are slightly bent here. If you feel tightness or pulling too much in the back of your thighs, your hamstrings there, just bend your knees a little bit more. So we're in this halfway lift, 90-degree-ish hinge here. With your next exhale, bending your knees a little bit more as you forward fold, letting your arms go. Inhale, come back up to a halfway lift position, hands sliding up to the thighs. And exhale, forward fold, letting your knees bend as much as they'd like. One last time, inhale, halfway lift. Let's stay lifted here for the exhale. Inhale, reverse swan dive. So the arms reach out wide first, and then we hinge upward through the hips. Then continue upward, reaching hands overhead. And eventually lowering your arms down. Let's get a little shakeout here. So let it just come to you, whatever needs to move first. Just let it happen. Doing some shaking and dusting yourself off if you like. All right, and then we'll come right up to the front of the mat. Take a look down at your feet. Pick up your toes, spread out your toes, give your feet a little stretch for a moment. And then set your feet, your toes on down. Spin your palms to face the front of your space, mountain pose. Noticing or imagining some kind of opening sensation through the heart center. It could feel like an openness, like a heart, an openness to empathy or feeling love or being able to kind of give and receive love in a less judgmental way, something like that. As you breathe here, strengthen this imagined or real sensation of heart opening, heart center opening in the metaphoric way. Then with an inhale, let's reach both arms high. Exhale, open arm twist to the right. The left arm reaches forward, the right arm reaches back. And inhale, come back to center. Exhale, open arm twist to the left. Inhale, unwind, back to center. Let's do this a few more times. Exhale, open arm twist to the right. Inhale, center. And exhale, open arm twist to the left. Back to center this time for a forward fold, exhaling your way to the bottom. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bring your hands to the floor or block. Step one foot back first, and then the other. High plank, shoulders over wrists. Big breath in, and exhale, lower your knees, and then lower your chest. Press the tops of your feet into the mat. Inhale, baby cobra, rising up through the head and heart. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, baby cobra. And exhale, lower. This time's a little different. Inhale, rise up, baby cobra. Let's stay here for the exhale. Inhale, press your way up to tabletop. And exhale to child's pose. Maybe bringing your knees out a little wider and touching your big toes behind you. You can sink right in or rise back up to tabletop a couple of times and then head on back. Sometimes that feels good to kind of ease into it. Let's take about 3 more big breaths. Inhale, rise up, tabletop. Exhale, downward dog. 3 breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in. Last breath out. Inhale, bend your knees, look up toward the top of your mat. Exhale, step just your right foot forward. Give it some help getting to the top if need be. Inhale, rise up, warrior 1. Exhale, warrior 2, spinning that back heel down to the floor and reaching in either direction. Inhale, pick up all of the toes, spread them out. Exhale, toes meet the floor. One more breath in and breath out. Extended side angle is next. Let's reach forward through the right fingertips first. And then tip forward, bringing your right elbow to your right thigh and extending that left arm up and overhead. Big breath in and out. One last breath in and out, bringing hands to the blocks up at the top of your mat, spinning to face the top of your mat. Take a big step or a series of small steps to get to the top. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive so the arms reach wide first, and then we hinge up through the hips and continue on upward, joining hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a few centering breaths. And a clearing breath together in through the nose and a sigh to release. Inhale, reach hands high. Grab hold of your left wrist and exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, come to the center, switch sides, grabbing hold of the right wrist and exhale, side bend left. Let's do that again on each side. Inhale to the center, switch your grip. Exhale, side bend right. Last time through, inhale to center and exhale, side bend left. Inhale, reaching high, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step one foot back first, and then the other, high plank. One big breath in, and exhale, lowering your knees, and then lowering your chest. Inhale, baby cobra. Your choice here if you want to stay lifted for 3 breaths or exhale and lower down, keeping it moving. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, staying or flowing with it. Last breath here, inhale, baby cobra. And exhale, child's pose, pressing your way up through tabletop and right on back. We'll have about 5 breaths here. Inhale, rising up, tabletop, grabbing blocks. Exhale, downward dog. 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Last breath in and breath out. Inhale, bending both knees, look to the top of your mat. Exhale, step just your left foot forward, giving it a little help if you need to. Inhale, rise up, warrior 1. And exhale, warrior 2. Take your time, getting settled in your warrior 2. Eventually using an inhale to pick up all of the toes, spread them out. And then exhale, gripping the floor with your toes. One more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Breathing like normal as we transition to extended side angle, reaching forward first, and then resting the left elbow on the left thigh, and reaching your right arm up and overhead. Create as much length here between the right pinky toe and the right pinky finger as you can, lengthening and reaching. One more breath in and breath out, bringing your hands to the blocks. Spin your back toes to face the top edge of your mat. Step or walk your way to the top, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, bending the knees a bit deeper. Inhale, reverse swan dive, arms reaching wide and hinging upward. Extending the hands overhead. Exhale, hands coming down to heart center, taking a few breaths to embrace this pose. Samastitihi, equal standing pose, meant to bring balance. Let's take a clearing breath in through the nose and decide to release. Inhale, reaching both hands high. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. All right, we're going to step the right foot back and then spin to face the long edge of your mat. So we'll head there. Then we'll point the toes a little farther out and the heels a little bit farther in. So toes out, heels in, kind of at an angle like that. Inhale, star pose, reaching hands high, expanding. Exhale, goddess pose. We're going to bring the hands to heart center and bend the knees. We're kind of opening out toward the pinky edges of the feet. And then inhale, coming back up. Your choice here with your exhale, bending your knees, maybe your hands coming down through heart center, or you could bring your hands out to mirror the knees. Inhaling to rise up, star pose, straightening the legs. Exhale, your variation, goddess. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, goddess pose. Let's stay here for an extra breath in. Feel that fire. And exhale, bringing your hands to your knees. Dip one shoulder in toward the center. Eventually dipping your other shoulder down to the center. Nice little twist here. You can go back and forth a couple more times if you like. We'll continue. We'll make this into kind of a side lunge so we can bend a little bit more into one knee and then the other. Let's eventually come back to center. For a nice forward fold, take your time, maybe grab your blocks. You could play with toe heeling your feet out wider and folding forward. You could try bringing your heels out a little wider and your toes a little closer together. Just try a few different options that you can think of and explore in your body here as we spend a little time in a wide-legged forward fold. Eventually using an inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees a little deeper. Inhale, start to rise back up. One last star pose. And then exhale to lower your arms down. Bring your feet in. Give everything a nice little shake. And we will get ready for some balancing next. So kind of a play on our tree pose like we like to do normal tree pose. This is our one-legged mountain pose variation. So getting close to a wall if you want to. Let's shift to balance on the right foot and start to lift your left knee a little bit, or maybe up to about hip height. See if you can still lengthen upwards through the crown of your spine, standing nice and tall. Now this might be plenty today, so feel free to stay here in a more strengthening, balancing position, or you might reach to grab hold of your left knee, maybe with just one hand, or maybe both. And again, working on still standing up nice and straight. You might stay here, or opt for another variation where you bring your knee out toward the side. Our main practice is just balancing here on the right leg, so feel free to fill in or edit. One or two more breaths. And then eventually stepping your left foot down, shaking out both legs. All right. Switching sides when you're ready, balancing on the left foot and finding your way to one-legged mountain pose. The right knee lifting this time. Maybe grabbing hold with one hand, maybe two hands, seeing about standing up as tall as you can here, lengthening. Or opting to bring the right knee out wide, the left hand up high. Ooh. Go ahead and play. Maybe another breath or two or three. And then eventually letting that leg go, shaking out the standing leg and the other leg, all the legs. Let's head on down toward the floor, coming to a seat first. And then lowering onto your back. You could hug your knees in toward your chest right away, or when you arrive, let's find more of that free movement, massaging pressure around your low back, your mid back, and anywhere else you can access. Letting your feet find the floor. Let's bring the arms out wide for support. Scoot your pelvis over toward the left edge of your mat and allow your knees to start twisting toward the right. Supine twist. Notice where your head and your neck naturally want to go. Maybe experiment with turning your head from one side to the other to see where you'd like to rest. Notice any over efforting here. See if you can give yourself more ease. And when you're ready, start to think about switching sides, bringing your knees back up to center, scooching the pelvis over toward the right edge of the mat this time, and then twisting and lowering the knees to the left. Perhaps letting your head rock from side to side on this side as well. Maybe pausing somewhere comfortable. And eventually coming back to center. If there are any last movements, poses, or stretches that you'd like to experience before our final rest, now's a great time to move in those ways. Eventually, setting yourself up for a nice cozy shavasana, ending meditation, perhaps grabbing a pillow or something for under your head, maybe dimming the lights in your space or grabbing an eye pillow for over your eyes. And if you have your eyes closed, we can experiment with turning our closed eye gaze up to the third eye center, as if you could look through your forehead. This gaze is sometimes called the screen of the mind. You might notice kind of a blank screen-like sensation or appearance as you look in this direction. Some say you can watch your mind made manifest here. You can see as your thoughts arise, thoughts and imagery, sometimes just seemingly spontaneously arising. Maybe you see shapes or colors, even with your eyes closed. Or maybe it's more of a kind of a blank focus. Getting acquainted or reacquainted with the screen of the mind here. Try to take the seat of the witness and just watch as thoughts unfold. Trying to remain in a somewhat disconnected, like you're not going to get swept away by your thoughts. You just want to kind of watch them like clouds passing in the sky. Continuing to return to the screen of the mind here can help us build our ability to focus, ability to direct our awareness. And help us to extend our attention span. So don't worry if you get distracted or become uninterested. See if you can gently direct this meditative experience back to witnessing the screen of your mind. Softening your jaw, softening the eyebrows, turning your gaze back to the third eye center, screen of the mind. If that feels welcome. Over the next few breaths, let go of the focus that you have, maybe even blinking your eyes. Open and close a few times, kind of resetting, bringing your awareness back into your physical body. You might wiggle fingers and toes. You could circle your tongue around the top and bottom rows of your teeth. Maybe squeezing your fingertips together, coming back into the physical body here. Eventually continuing to grow your movements, maybe reaching into a long body stretch or any other way. Turn on to either side and take a breath in the fetal position without trying to rush to the next place. And eventually, using the help of your arms and hands, press your way up to a comfortable seat. We'll bring hands together at heart center. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. And may our own thoughts, words, and actions somehow contribute to the happiness and freedom for all. Together, let's bring thumbs up to third eye center now and seal our class in with a little bow forward together. Peace.